When I went to beg my sister for forgiveness, I happened to overhear her conversation with her bestie, Royan. I've had a crush on your brother for 10 years. He's reaching the age to get married anyway. So, how about he marries me? My sister looked totally indifferent. Sure, if you want him, he's yours. She didn't know that when she said those words, I was standing right outside the door. Just as she wished. That very night I knocked on her bestie's door. Changqian, I'm willing to marry you. By the time we finished discussing the wedding, it was already the middle of the night. The wedding date was finally set for May 2nd, which happened to be the exact same day Lu Ruoyan was getting married. Neither of our parents had any objections. After all, it was a double blessing for the families. When I got home, I saw Ji Boda was there too. Liu Ruyan gave me a cold, indifferent look. You disappeared for a whole night. You're punished to stand for 2 hours. Where did you run off to? Are you planning to never come back? My footsteps paused, but I didn't look up. I just softly replied, yeah, I won't be coming back. After saying that, I went upstairs. The next morning, as soon as I came downstairs, I saw Ji Boda sitting right next to Lu Ruyan, scrolling through a tablet. Hearing me approach, Ji Boda quickly looked up, his eyes instantly filling with smugness. Liu Qiang, come help me pick out the necklace I'm going to wear at the wedding. My eyes are getting blurry from looking at so many. I walked over. As soon as I sat down, Ji Boda shoved the tablet into my hands. Then, he pulled Lu Ruyan into his arms and whined affectionately, Ruyan, I'm so dizzy from looking. I still don't know which one to choose. Liu Ruyan's body stiffened for a moment before she snapped out of it. She asked dotingly, still haven't found one you like? Do you want me to call a few more designers over? The next second, Ji Boda's gaze landed on me. Then, he let out a fake, troubled laugh. Actually, I do have one I like. I'm just afraid someone might be too reluctant to part with it. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan chuckled lightly. Her voice was full of nonchalance. Whose is it? As long as you like it, I'll spend whatever it takes to buy it for you. Hearing her say that, the smile on Ji Boda's lips finally bloomed completely. He then pointed at my neck and said, this necklace. I really like it. Hearing that, the smile in Liu Ruyan's eyes instantly froze. She knew perfectly well how important this necklace was to me. But before I could even speak, she said, sure. Since you like it, I'll give it to you as a wedding gift. Saying that, she took off the necklace without any hesitation and handed it to Ji Boda. He took it, looking pleasantly surprised. Meanwhile, Liu Ruyan's hand, resting on the sofa, was trembling slightly. A hint of surprise flickered in her eyes. Before she could say anything, Ji Boda's eyes dropped to my collarbone. The letters tattooed on your collarbone look so familiar. Why, what does that mean? Hearing this, my expression shifted slightly. I quickly pulled my hand back. Then I saw Liu Ruyan staring at her gaze, turning a bit colder. Didn't I tell you the other day to get that tattoo removed? Why is it still there? I forced a small smirk, my tone totally calm. Don't worry, I've already made an appointment. Just as I said that, the butler ushered in the tattoo removal specialist who had just arrived. Hello, Mr. Liu. When would you like to start the removal? The specialist gave me a slight bow. I replied, right now is fine. The specialist worked very quickly. It was completely removed in half an hour. After it was done, I went upstairs alone, without even glancing at Liu Ruyan's expression. Over the next few days, I tried my best to avoid any contact with Liu Ruyan. I poured all my energy into my own wedding preparations. Busy every day trying on outfits with Yi Shangqian, picking out wedding rings, and selecting jewelry. I was slowly pushing Liu Ruyan's silhouette out of my mind, bit by bit. One day, just as I was about to head out, I saw Liu Ruyan sitting on the sofa, talking on the phone. Ruyan, I'm having my wedding in half a month. Hearing Yi Qianqian's voice, my hands froze as I was changing my shoes. I lifted my gaze to look at Liu Ruyan's profile. A flash of surprise crossed Liu Ruyan's eyes. She let out a low laugh. Who's so capable that they actually managed to win your heart? Which rich kid is the lucky groom? Soon, Yi Qianqian's smiling voice came through the speaker. You'll find out when the time comes. Just remember to drink a few extra glasses with us. I finally let out a sigh of relief in my heart and went back to putting on my shoes. Hearing the noise, Liu Ruyan glanced back at me. A moment later, there was a hint of regret in her voice. I won't be able to make it that day. I'm getting married too. The wedding date is exactly the same day. Oh, I see, even though you can't come, you're still my absolute best friend. I'll have someone send a jade bracelet over later, as a wedding gift for you two. Wishing you a happy marriage in advance. I didn't stick around to listen to the rest of the conversation. I grabbed my phone and started to walk out. But by then, Liu Rian had already hung up. She suddenly spoke up and stopped me. It's getting late. Why are you still going out? What exactly have you been so busy with these past few days? I tapped my fingers against my phone screen. Busy with what? Naturally, I'm busy with my own wedding. Then I quickly made up an excuse, brushed her off with a few words, and walked straight out the door. Inside the Yi family villa, I looked at myself wearing a suit in the mirror, my breath catching in my throat. The maids standing nearby were completely blown away. Yi Shanqian's mom even snapped several pictures, saying she wanted to show them to Qian. I blushed quietly and went back to my room to change. Just then the doorbell rang. The butler walked in carrying an exquisite gift box. You, Madam, this is the wedding gift Ms. Liu sent over in advance to congratulate the young master on his marriage. Yi's mother opened it to take a look. It was a bright, translucent, and crystal clear jade bracelet. One glance was enough to tell it was incredibly valuable. She really put a lot of thought into this. I had just finished changing and walked out when Yi's mother hurriedly waved me over. Liu Qiang, come here quick. This is the wedding gift your sister sent for you guys. Honestly, your sister is so silly. Couldn't she just give it to you directly? Why go through all this trouble to have it delivered here? I suddenly remembered what Liu Ruyan had said this morning. Before I could even refuse, my mother-in-law had already slipped the bracelet onto my wrist. When I got home in the early hours of the morning, just as I walked through the door, I saw Jiboda sitting on the couch in a bathrobe. Beside him, Liu Ruyan was peeling an orange. The white pith on the orange was carefully removed, and Liu Ruyan even fed it directly into Jiboda's mouth. Jiboda accidentally brushed his lips against her slender fingers, and his ears instantly turned red. I just calmly looked away. I changed my shoes and was just about to head upstairs. The next second, my wrist was fiercely grabbed by Liu Ruyan. A storm was slowly brewing in her eyes. Her voice was trembling and intense. She frantically asked, "Why is this bracelet on your wrist?" That's when I realized I had forgotten to take the bracelet off. I frowned and said, "What bracelet? A friend gave this to me. Can you let go of me first? You're hurting me." Hearing this, she suddenly snapped out of it, realizing she had made a mistake. After she calmed down, she asked in a deep voice, "A friend gave it to you?" I looked at her, confused. "Why do you need to know so clearly?" "A female friend gave it to me." Upon hearing the words, "female friend," the hand Liu Ruyan had resting by her side clenched tightly. Just as she was about to press further, Jiboda walked over. Like he was declaring his territory, he hooked his arm through Liu Ruyan's. Although his words were full of apology, there wasn't an ounce of sincerity. "So, sorry about this, Liu Qiang. I thought you weren't coming back today, so I only prepared a candlelight dinner for Ruyan and me. You don't mind, do you?" I gave him a look and replied calmly, "It's fine. I've already had dinner." After saying that, I went upstairs. Under the dim light of the wall lamp, I took off the bracelet and casually tossed it into the drawer. Then I reached for the water glass next to me, only to find it was completely empty. I got up and was about to head out to get some water, but the moment I opened the door, I bumped right into Jiboda, who had just finished changing. Seeing that it was just the two of us now, Jiboda's smiling face instantly morphed into provocation and disdain. He tilted his chin up slightly. "Does this bathrobe look good on me?" I gave his robe a careless glance, calmly looked away, and didn't say a word. But seeing my reaction, Jiboda thought I was just hurting inside, and the corners of his mouth curled up even higher. "Your sister picked this out for me herself. She said she prepared it for me a long time ago, and tonight, she's going to tear it right off me in bed." As if he just remembered something, he suddenly covered his mouth, his cheeks flushing with a dark red tint. "Oh my, I forgot you haven't even been in a relationship yet. How could I say such things to you?" I maintained my calm demeanor. Just as I was about to speak, I saw Jiboda lift his wrists, revealing a string of Buddhist prayer beads. "Speaking of which, I really should thank you. If you hadn't taken pity on me and brought me over to the Liu family's house so often to hang out, how could I have ever met your sister? Someone so amazing and deeply affectionate? You know, back then I used to envy how your sister, in order to pray for your safety, bowed every 3 steps all the way to the top of Woolen Temple, just to get you a set of consecrated prayer beads. And now, she's gone, and got a set for me too. Staring at those prayer beads, my heart gave a violent shudder. After freezing for a moment, I took a deep breath, and quickly adjusted my emotions. But seeing that Jibota was about to show off something else, I completely lost the mood to go downstairs for water. I just shut the door right in his face. Late at night, just as I was drifting off to sleep in a daze, I heard the doorknob turn. I rubbed my eyes, and was just about to get up, when I saw a slender figure walking towards me. Then, she pinned me straight down onto the bed, and a storm of kisses rained down on me. Smelling the faint scent of jasmine on her, my whole body instantly stiffened. Just as she was about to take it a step further, out of nowhere, I found a burst of strength, and shoved her away. After steadying my nerves, I called for the maid to help escort Liu Ruyan out of the room. The next morning, I took a long time getting ready before heading downstairs. As soon as I reached the kitchen, I saw Liu Ruyan plating some food. She casually picked up some chopsticks, and fed a piece to Jibota, who was standing right beside her. Jibota smiled smugly, tilted his head and looked at her. Ruyan, you're so busy with the company every day, how do you even know how to cook? Do you like it? If you like it, I'll only cook for you from now on, okay? Jibota nodded heavily, smiling even brighter. He kissed Liu Ruyan a few more times, before turning around with her to walk towards the dining table. When she looked up, she saw me standing by the stairs. She didn't seem to remember a thing about last night. She just shot me a quick glance and coldly looked away. Jibota, on the other hand, enthusiastically greeted me. Liu Qiang, I thought you weren't coming down for breakfast, so I only had Ruyan make 2 portions. You're not mad, are you? I had no intention of playing along with his little act. Without even looking at him, I just walked right past them and into the kitchen, because I hadn't cooked for myself in a long time. By the time I came out with a barely edible breakfast, the 2 of them at the table had already finished eating. I lowered my eyes and sat quietly to the side, silently eating the food on my plate. Suddenly, I heard a loud gasp from across the table. Oh my God! Liu Qiang, why do you have so many cuts on your hands? I didn't want to deal with Jibota, so I didn't reply. Instead, Liu Ruyan paused, lifted her gaze, and looked at my wounds. A flicker of emotion passed through her eyes, but then she casually turned and asked Jibota, your birthday is coming up soon. The venue for the party is all set up. Do you want to go take a look? Hearing this, Jibota quickly pulled her into his arms, asking joyfully, really? Then let's go right now. Liu Ruyan threw Jibota's birthday party. With extreme extravagance, she spent an absolute fortune, not only booking out the entire Jinjiang hotel, but also inviting a slew of business tycoons and entertainment superstars to celebrate Jibota. The entire hall was dripping in diamonds and fresh flowers. And, on one side of the stage, there was a custom-made cake just for Jibota, standing a massive 3 meters tall. I stood quietly in the corner, watching this incredibly luxurious scene. Jibota's birthday party was far more lavish than any birthday I had ever had. It really looked like Liu Ruyan was madly in love with him. But, strangely enough, at that moment, I couldn't feel even a sliver of heartache anymore. Fireworks bloomed across the sky, and the banquet reached its grand climax. Liu Ruyan brought out a blue diamond worth hundreds of millions, the star of true love. Instantly, the whole hall erupted in excitement. When this blue diamond first hit the market, it was auctioned off for an astronomical price by a mysterious tycoon, sparking everyone's curiosity. It wasn't until today that they finally learned. The owner of this blue diamond was actually Liu Ruyan, and her whole goal was just to make her fiancé happy. The girl standing next to me shook with envy. A friend nearby was full of jealousy. Wow, I'm so jealous. How did Jibota get so lucky? A fiancé who spoils him like crazy, giving away a multi-million-dollar blue diamond just like that. If only I had such an amazing fiancé. I didn't bother listening to the rest. As the banquet drew to a close, I was just about to leave when Jibota blocked my path. He touched the blue diamond on his hand with a beaming smile, and slowly spoke up. Even though Ruyan loves me very much right now, I still want to test just how deep her love really is. Before I could even react, I saw Jibota flash me a smirk. The very next second, his entire body crashed right into the massive 3-tier cake. Before I could even process what happened, a forceful shove violently pushed me aside. Liu Ruyan immediately rushed to help Jibota up, wiping the frosting off him with a heartbroken expression. Jibota weakly grabbed her sleeve, tears welling up in his eyes. Ruyan, I don't know what I did wrong. I just wanted to show Lu Qiang my blue diamond. But he got mad and pushed me right into the cake. A cold shiver ran down my spine. Just as I was about to speak, I met Liu Ruyan's icy stare. Liu Qiang, have I spoiled you? So rotten that you've completely forgotten your place? I told you a long time ago Boda is your brother-in-law. He's going to be the master of the Liu family and you need to respect him. No more throwing tantrums. Right now. Apologize to him immediately for what you just did. This wasn't the first time she refused to believe me. In the very beginning I used to defend myself, and my heart would ache. But eventually, no matter how many times I told her it wasn't true, she would always just take Jibota's side. By now, my heart had long grown completely numb. I simply pointed at a security camera nearby. There are cameras here. You can check the footage and see the truth for yourself. Just as Liu Ruyan was about to say something, Jibota's body went stiff beside her, and he suddenly passed out. She had no time to question me any further. She quickly ordered people to carry Jibota and rushed out, never looking back at me even once. It suddenly started pouring down rain outside. After all the guests had dispersed, I was left completely alone, sitting in that empty, echoing hall all night. It wasn't until the rain stopped the next morning that I finally made my way back to the Liu family home. But the moment I pushed my bedroom door open, I froze dead in my track. The entire room was completely trashed, as if a thief had broken in and ransacked the place. But the most important thing was, the keepsakes my mother left me were gone. I frantically searched everywhere, turning the whole room upside down, but I couldn't find it. Just as I was anxiously about to call the police, Jibota's voice suddenly came from behind me. Are you looking for your jade pendant? As if triggered by a keyword, I suddenly stood up, rushed over, and grabbed his arm. You took it, didn't you? Jibota pushed me away with a look of disgust, the smugness in his eyes even more apparent. So what if I took it? I wanted to look for some clothes in your room, but I happened to see that jade pendant. I thought it was funny, so I tossed it to a stray dog. That dog probably hasn't run far. You might still make it if you go look for it now. Hearing this, I was instantly furious. Without bothering to settle the score with him, I dashed out the door as fast as I could. It had started raining again at some point. The heavy rain smashed hard against my face, making it hurt to keep my eyes open. But I couldn't care less about that. I kept searching along the riverbank until I finally spotted that yellow dog. I lunged at it with all my might, trying to snatch the pendant back from its mouth. But the dog got startled by my lunge, and amidst its frantic barking, it actually dragged me into the river. By the time I was finally pulled up by a kind passerby, the jade pendant in my hand was already shattered into pieces. I felt my entire world spinning into darkness, not even knowing how I managed to make it back home. The moment I opened the door and saw Jibota, all my pent-up anger exploded all at once. I marched up and viciously slapped him across the face. Slapped him. Jibota, what the hell are you trying to do? With a sharp gasp, Jibota covered his face, looking at me in disbelief. Then his gaze fell on the shattered pendant in my hand. His initial panic instantly vanished. He chuckled. What am I trying to do? What do you think? I just want to destroy everything you have. My blood boiled instantly. Just as I was about to say something, I saw Jibota's eyes suddenly turn red, and he quickly covered his face in tears. The next second, Liu Ruyan strode over, looking at Jibota's swollen cheek. Her expression instantly darkened. Jibota looked as if he had found his protector. His eyes grew red, and crystal-clear tears rolled down his cheeks. Ruyan, please don't blame Liu Qiang. It was my carelessness that broke the jade pendant Liu Qiang's mother left him. Liu Ruyan looked at me, soaking wet and full of tears. Whatever she was about to say got stuck in her throat. I know this pendant is very important to you, but Boda didn't do it on purpose. Tomorrow, I'll find someone to carve an exact replica for you. A lot of things can be resolved. You didn't have to hit him. With just a few dismissive words, she wanted to just brush this whole thing off. My initial rage turned entirely into overwhelming grievance at that moment. My tears couldn't stop falling, one after another. I don't need a new one. I want this one. But Liu Ruyan just bluntly handed me a bank card. Then go contact a restoration specialist yourself. That card was simply shoved right in front of me. At this moment we were no longer siblings, no longer family, and no longer the closest people to each other. We had become two complete strangers. I suddenly laughed, a laugh that was so incredibly tragic. I shakily reached out and took the card. Without looking at them again, I walked upstairs like a soulless ghost. After that day, I fell severely ill. After running a high fever for 2 days and 1 night, the first thing I did when I woke up was pull out a notebook and write down a long, detailed bill. It contained all the expenses the Liu family and Liu Ruyan had spent on me over the years. After calculating the total, I realized I was still short a few tens of thousands. So, I took the gifts Liu Ruyan had given me over the years and listed them for sale online at low prices. Because they were priced so cheaply, the gifts were snatched up very quickly. That evening, I took the bank card and headed downstairs. Just as I was about to go find Liu Ruyan, I saw her striding aggressively towards me. She was holding several gift boxes in her arms. They were the exact same ones I had just sold online cheaply. Liu Ruyan slammed the gifts onto the table. She lifted her gaze, and her gray eyes were filled with frost. Our family isn't so broke that you need to sell off these things at a loss to make a living. If you're short on money, you can just ask me. I gave the gifts a calm glance, and then pushed the bill and the bank card onto the table. It's not to make a living. I just want to pay back every single cent you spent on me over the years. Pay back? Just because of that trivial matter last time. You're going to throw a tantrum until now, huh? She fell silent for a moment, suppressing her anger in her deep voice. I've told you, Boda is my fiancé. He's officially joining our family in a few days. Can't you show your brother-in-law some basic respect? Hearing Liu Ruyan's words, I knew she completely misunderstood. But I didn't care to explain anymore. I left the bank card and turned to walk away. Since that day, we fell into a cold war and ignored each other. Liu Ruyan was joyfully preparing for her wedding, and I was quietly preparing for my own. When there were less than 7 days left until the wedding, I got a call from my college class president. He said there was going to be a big class reunion on a cruise ship next week. At first, I really didn't want to go, until the class president mentioned that Mr. Liu would be there. Mr. Liu wasn't just my former teacher, he was also the homeroom teacher for Yi Qianqian's class. He took great care of me during my college years, so I figured I could use this chance to personally hand my beloved mentor our wedding invitation. On the day of the reunion, the cruise ship was packed with people. I chatted briefly with some old classmates, and then headed downstairs to find Mr. Liu in a private room. Just as I reached the stairs, a loud gasp echoed from the entrance. I looked up and saw Ji Boda walking in arm with Liu Ruyan. It was obvious Ji Boda had dressed up meticulously for today. He was wearing a highly expensive bespoke suit, studded with dazzling jewels that sparkled with a blinding light. What was even more blinding was that he was proudly wearing the multi-million-dollar blue diamond Liu Ruyan had given him. A huge crowd of classmates who used to look down on him were now crowding around him like stars around the moon. The flattery was endless. Boda, your ring is so flashy. I heard this blue diamond is worth hundreds of millions. And this suit, it has to be custom made. President Liu really loves you. That's nothing. I even heard that President Liu booked this entire cruise ship just for Boda. Just because Boda casually mentioned that reunions on land are boring, and he wanted to feel the ocean breeze. I coldly withdrew my gaze and headed towards the private room, failing to notice Liu Ruyan looking at my back with a complex, meaningful stare. After entering the room, I respectfully handed the wedding invitation to Mr. Liu. Mr. Liu took it with a delighted smile, held my hand and said kindly, Xiao Qiang. I watched Qian grow up during her time at school. That girl is gentle and considerate, careful and thoughtful. You will definitely be very happy marrying her. Marry? Who's getting married? Ji Boda suddenly appeared at the doorway, staring at me in shock. I didn't even bat an eye at him. I exchanged a few more words with Mr. Liu before leaving. But just as I stepped out, Ji Boda blocked my path. Liu Qiang, once your sister and I are married, I'll be your official brother-in-law. I am still missing a groomsman. If you beg me right now, I might just be in a good enough mood to reward you with the spot. I rejected him with a flat tone. No need. After saying that, I just walked past him. But, to my surprise, right as I stepped onto the deck, a violent force violently shoved me from behind. Seeing that I was losing balance and about to fall into the sea, in a moment of pure instinct, I spun around and grabbed Jibota's hand that he hadn't yet pulled back. In the next second, we both plunged into the ocean together. Screams erupted from the crowd. Liu Ruyan rushed to the deck, threw off her jacket, and jumped right into the sea after us. The freezing, bone-chilling seawater instantly flooded my nose, and a spicy, suffocating sensation spread deep in my throat. I struggled with all my might to swim up, but was beaten down by one fierce wave after another. My vision blurred into darkness. In my daze, I saw a familiar silhouette. Swimming towards Jibota, she grabbed him and swam towards the lifeboat without looking back. Watching that small boat drift further away, I violently choked on a mouthful of water. Then, I was completely swallowed by a massive wave. My eyes went black, and I passed out completely. When I woke up again, I found myself already lying in a hospital bed. Suddenly, my phone beside me started buzzing continuously. I opened it and saw they were messages from Yi Qiangqiang. Dozens of them. Liu Qiang, I'm back in the country. I heard you fell into the sea. Which hospital are you at? I'm coming to see you right now. I'm so sorry. I didn't take good care of you. With me by your side from now on. Something like this will never happen again. Seeing these texts, I felt a bit overwhelmed. Earlier, Yi Qiangqian had told me the earliest she could make it back was the eve of our wedding. But now, she returned early and wanted to see me. Perhaps because I didn't reply. The phone rang again the next second. It was Yi Qiangqian calling. I cleared my throat before picking up the phone. Qiangqian, why are you back so soon? Because I wanted to see you earlier. So I rushed to finish my work. Which hospital are you at? I'm heading there right now. Hearing the unconcealed worry and anxiety in her voice, my heart warmed. I quickly said, Qiangqian, it's okay. I'm being discharged today. You just got off the plane. Go home and get some good rest. Halfway through, I suddenly started stuttering. Plus, we're getting married soon. It's bad luck for the bride and groom to see each other right before the wedding. That way, we'll have a happy marriage. Hearing this, the other end of the line fell silent for a moment. Then she sighed softly, but Yi Qiang, I'm really worried. This was the first time Yi Qiangqian had called me by that nickname. I froze, inexplicably, my face turning red. Then I forced a smile. It's fine. I believe that after marrying you, every single day from now on will be sunny. Yi Qiangqian hummed in agreement and made a solemn promise. Yi Qiang, I will spend my whole life protecting you and making you happy. With me, you can be a happy kid forever. I paused, my eyes silently welling up with tears. Okay, for the next few days in the hospital, I wasn't lonely. Because Yi Qiangqian called to chat with me every single day. She even arranged for various caretakers to look after me and bodyguards to watch over me. On the day I was discharged, I was almost back at the Liu family home. When I finally hung up her call with a smile, just as I was about to walk in, a voice sounded from above. Who were you just on the phone with? I saw Liu Ruyan standing at the door, glaring at me with a dark expression. I withdrew my gaze and calmly replied, A friend. A friend? What kind of friend makes you smile so happily? You couldn't even bear to hang up until you got home. I could hear the anger in her tone, but my expression remained completely unfazed. Sister, did you come looking for me just to ask this? Liu Ruyan forcefully suppressed the emotions, threatening to burst from the depths of her heart, and held out a gift to me. When we fell in the ocean last time, I saved Bota first, because he has thalassophobia, and I haven't visited you these past few days, because he was traumatized. I didn't take the gift, and simply interrupted her indifferently. I appreciate the gesture, sister, but there's no need to apologize to me. One is your future husband. The other is just your brother. It's completely normal that you saved him first. After saying that, I brushed past her into the villa. The night before the wedding, I sat in my room, deleting the photos I had taken with Liu Ruyan over the years, one by one. Among these photos, the oldest was from my very first day at the Liu family, when she took the initiative to pull me in for a picture. Back then, my eyes were full of fear, and hers were full of tenderness. The last photo was taken the day before she discovered my feelings for her. At that time, my eyes were filled with unconcealed love, and hers were full of doting affection for me. Now, all that was left between us were the 52 photos on my phone. They recorded more than half of my youth with her, and my 7 years of loving her. Finally, I deleted all these photos with one click. Goodbye forever. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. I opened it, and saw it was Liu Ruian. I was slightly surprised she came to find me the night before the wedding, but I had no desire to pry. Feigning calmness, I asked, with a detached tone, "Is there something you need?" She forced down the sharp ache in her heart, and said softly, "No. Just wanted to see if you were asleep." My expression was flat. I was just about to. "If there's nothing else, I'm closing the door." Get some rest then." So many words rushed to Liu Ruian's lips, but she ultimately choked them back down. After closing the door, I didn't go to sleep right away. I packed my things in the room for a long time, then carried a box out and placed it at Liu Ruian's door. The next morning, as soon as Liu Ruian opened her door, she saw the large box in front of it. Seeing the familiar handwriting on top, she instantly knew whose it was. She immediately knocked on my door. "Liu Qiang, what's the meaning of these gifts?" After a long silence, I replied, "They're my wedding gifts to you." Just as she was about to say something else, our mother's voice urging her downstairs echoed up. She acknowledged it, then asked me, "Aren't you coming with me to get makeup done?" I raised my voice slightly. "No need. You guys go ahead. I have something to do. I'll head straight to the venue later." Liu Ruian assumed I was still mad at her, so she didn't push it, but her feet remained planted at the door. Her heart, inexplicably, started racing. She couldn't shake the feeling that if she walked away now, she would never see me again. She raised her hand to knock on my door again, but she was interrupted by her mother coming up to hurry her. "Ruian, what are you still doing here? Let's go. Don't miss the auspicious hour. Whatever you need to say to your brother, you can say it later. You'll see him at the venue anyway." "That's right. I'll see him at the venue later." She steadied her nerves and followed her mother downstairs. And the very moment she left, I finally opened my door, dressed in my suit. The wedding cars drove towards the city center one after another. Just as the last wedding car left the Liu family villa, another fleet of wedding cars slowly pulled into the driveway. I took one last look at this place where I had lived for so many years. Without looking back, I got into the car. I was going to pick up my bride. Two fleets of wedding cars headed in different directions, both eventually driving slowly toward the same destination. Today, for the Liu family, was a great day of double blessings. The bustling, extravagant banquet hall was brilliantly illuminated. The scent of wine spilled from clinking glasses, drifting through the noisy crowd. Liu Ruian walked out of the lounge, looking for her parents and me, but after searching from upstairs to downstairs, she couldn't find a single trace of me. What she felt wasn't panic, but a deep sense of unease. So many things that felt wrong suddenly flooded her mind, one by one. She remembered the 2 sets of betrothal gifts placed in the living room before the wedding. She remembered the double happiness decoration on my door. And she remembered the fleeting glimpse of a black suit when she opened my door last night. Her heart was flooded with panic. Liu Ruian quickly called for the butler and asked where the 3 of us had gone. But the butler looked at her, completely confused. "Miss, didn't the young master tell you? Today is also the young master's wedding day. Madam and master went to attend the young master's wedding. It's right here in this hotel. They said they'll come over immediately after the ceremony." It was like a bolt from the blue, striking her so hard her vision went black. She grabbed the butler by his collar, her face dark. "Who is getting married?" The butler answered, the young master." The next moment, she let go of the butler and started storming out of the hall without looking back. But the MC suddenly ran over and stopped her. He asked cautiously, President Liu, the wedding is about to begin. Where are you going?" Liu Ruian shoved him aside and rushed for the door, shouting, "The wedding is cancelled!" Outside the doors of another hall, I was continuously adjusting my suit. At first, I had no expectations for this wedding. I only treated it as a task. But when this moment actually arrived, I was more nervous than anyone. Finally, the MC's voice echoed from inside. "Please welcome the bride." The massive doors slowly opened before me. At a glance, I saw Nhi Recap at the end of the flower path. The moment I saw her, the nervousness in my heart completely dissipated. turning into anticipation. Amidst the melodious wedding piano music, a sweet smile graced my face. Liu Qiang, a familiar female voice rang out. The hand I had tightly gripping my suit paused, but the heavy doors slammed shut right in Liu Ruyan's face. She froze in place, staring dead at the doors in front of her, thinking in her heart, how dare I? How dare I marry someone else? The panic in Liu Ruyan's heart all turned into rage at this moment. She tried hard to suppress the churning emotions inside her, striding forward to push the doors open. The security guards quickly rushed up to stop her. They said, "Miss, without an invitation, you cannot enter." Liu Ruyan shouted angrily, "Get lost! The person inside is my brother. Why can't I go in?" The two bodyguards exchanged a look. Before they could finish speaking, Liu Ruyan tried to force her way in. A tearful voice sounded from behind her. "Ruyan." She turned around and saw Ji Boda trembling, standing weakly not far away. With slightly red eyes, he asked, "What are you doing?" "Today is our wedding." At the mention of the word wedding, a flash of impatience crossed Liu Ruyan's eyes. She irritably tugged at her tie and told Ji Boda, "Our deal ends here. The wedding is cancelled. You should go too." Ji Boda's face turned pale. The hand gripping his wedding clothes suddenly clenched tight, his nails digging fiercely into his palms. He thought to himself, "A deal, it's just a deal again." To be able to climb from a poor mountainous area, stepping on countless people to reach the upper echelons, and become Liu Ruyan's fiancé, Ji Boda was no simple man. When he accidentally saw Liu Ruyan in the newspaper, he set his life's goal to marry Liu Ruyan and become the master of the Liu family. For this, he schemed meticulously. He approached me step by step, curried favor with me step by step, and finally entered the Liu family. Because of this, he discovered my secret love for Liu Ruyan. He knew perfectly well that in wealthy, prominent families, this kind of love undoubtedly went against social ethics. But it gave him the perfect opportunity to get close to Liu Ruyan by just casually dropping a few hints in front of her. She uncovered my secret. She was furious, but didn't know what to do with me. After all, I was the one she had raised for so many years. So, she forcefully suppressed her inner agitation and made a deal with him. He would pretend to be a loving couple with her, and she would give him a sum of money. At that time, wearing only clothes, washed until they were faded, he stood, pitifully, before her. The woman was anxious to get rid of her brother in name, so she signed the agreement with him without thinking much. But in the process of acting, his heart grew greedier and greedier, testing her bottom line step by step. Finally, the position of master of the Liu family was within his reach, but I just had to choose to get married on the exact same day as them. His plans were completely derailed. Ji Boda hid the fleeting ruthlessness in his eyes and walked forward, pretending to be wrong. In an instant, tears rolled down his face as he said, "But our wedding invitations have already been sent out. What will everyone think of me? I don't care if it's acting or not. But no man is willing to have his bride run away on the most important day of his life." Only then did Liu Ruyan realize this. Her tone softened a bit. "I will handle this matter myself. You leave first." After saying that, she didn't look at Ji Boda again, and pushed the doors open. At this moment, my wedding had reached its most crucial point. The MC was asking if I was willing to marry the woman in front of me. I looked up at Yi Qianqian in front of me. She was looking at me, her eyes full of smiles. In those eyes, other than my reflection, there was no one else. The hand that was tightly gripping my suit slowly relaxed, and I escaped from the corner of my mouth. The voice was new, yet firm. The smile in Yi Qianqian's eyes deepened, just as she cupped my face and was about to kiss me. With a loud bang, the doors were suddenly thrown open. Liu Ruyan, with a dark face, stormed over to grab my hand. But Yi Qianqian stepped in front of me first, and with a hint of displeasure in her voice, said, "Liu Ruyan, today is my wedding. What is the meaning of this?" Only then did Liu Ruyan realize the person I was marrying was her own best friend. The feeling of betrayal flooded her heart. One was the boy she had raised for 16 years. The other was her best friend of over 20 years. And we got married just like that, right behind her back. She instinctively swung a punch at the woman in front of her, yelling, "Yi Qianqian!" Screams erupted all around. The two of them just started fighting, right there. The scene was in total chaos. Enough. Stop fighting. I loosened my tie and was about to go pull them apart. And it was exactly because of my shout. Liu Ruyan's incoming punch paused. The next second, Yi Qianqian flipped her to the ground. What was supposed to be a perfectly good wedding was ruined by Liu Ruyan, and ended hastily. After seeing off the last guest, I finally couldn't hold back anymore. I slapped Liu Ruyan across the face, and said, "Have you caused enough trouble, sister?" The sudden slap made her head turn to the side. She was stunned for a long time, before slowly reaching out with her finger, wiping away the blood at the corner of her mouth. Yi Qianqian quickly stepped in front of me, afraid that Liu Ruyan would do something dangerous again. Liu Ruyan scoffed coldly, looking at the boy being shielded by her best friend. With a dark, unreadable expression, she asked, "You want to marry her?" I gripped Yi Qianqian's jacket, and looked back at her just as coldly, saying, "Isn't this what you've always wanted? Sister, you pushed me away. You hurt me time and time again for Jiboda. You forced me to go on blind dates. Wasn't it all just to make me leave you? Now, I'm giving you exactly what you wished for. Shouldn't you be happy?" Sister, enough. Stop calling me sister. The title she was once so used to hearing now sounded so grating to Liu Ruyan's ears. She looked at the boy in front of her. The little boy who used to hug her and cry loudly when he was wrong had now grown tall and strong, wearing a sharp white suit, holding Yi Qianqian's hand next to him. Her heart suddenly ached sharply, her hands balled into fists, trying hard to suppress the strange feeling in her heart. "Now, change out of your suit and come back with me. I'll pretend none of this ever happened," Liu Ruyan demanded. Yi Qianqian's eyes turned cold. She said, "Liu Ruyan, I forgot to tell you. Xiaoqian and I have already registered our marriage. He belongs to my family now." "Registered?" Liu Ruyan instinctively reached out to grab my hand. "Then go get a divorce." Before she could finish her sentence, Mother Liu, who had just rushed over, slapped her fiercely across the face. "Liu Ruyan, have you lost your mind?" Behind Mother Liu, Jiboda's eyes were red from crying. Hearing Jiboda's cries, the anger in Mother Liu's eyes deepened. "Not only did you run away from your own wedding, you actually came here to ruin your brother's wedding. Are you sick in the head?" Watching the scene devolve into chaos once again, just as Liu Ruyan was about to say something, Father Liu, who had followed closely behind, interrupted her. "Everyone, go home right now. Haven't we embarrassed ourselves enough?" In the car, I stared at the street view out the window, my brows tightly furrowed. Beside me, Yi Qianqian held my hand and gently rubbed it. That finally snapped me out of my daze. I looked at her. "I'm sorry you had to see that joke of scene today. The fact that I was getting married. I didn't tell her in the beginning. You know the reason why." I predicted many different reactions from her. I naively thought that, since she didn't like me, she wouldn't really care. But today, she almost ruined my wedding. "It's not your fault." Yi Qianqian hugged me tenderly and kissed my hair. On the night Yi Qianqian picked me up from the hospital, I told her everything about me and Liu Ruyan. I confessed it all. After all, Yi Qianqian was the wife I'd be spending my life with. She had every right to know. Moreover, if she really felt conflicted because of it, we could call off the wedding early and cut our losses. But at that time, other than feeling heartbroken for me, she didn't feel anything else. She said there's no right or wrong in liking someone. Not to mention my feelings were never even spoken out loud, before Liu Ruyan completely crushed them. And now, she even tried to ruin my wedding. All the pent-up frustration and grievance in my heart came pouring out at this moment. Gripping the clothes of the woman in front of me, I silently shed tears. Late at night, the old Liu family mansion was brightly lit. Father and Mother Liu sat together. The two pairs of newlyweds sat on separate sofas. Father Liu looked at the disheveled Liu Ruyan. The anger that had just subsided flared up again. "Do you know how much your impulsive actions today will cause the company's stock to plummet tomorrow? I don't care what your reasons are. You will issue a public statement right now, saying that your wedding with Jiboda will proceed as planned." As soon as those words fell, the expressions of the two on the opposite sofa varied. Jiboda tightly gripped his clothes, trying hard to suppress his inner ecstasy. But Liu Ruyan suddenly stood up. "I disagree. Jiboda and I are absolutely impossible." "Disagree with what?" Mother Liu looked at Jiboda's eyes turning red again. feeling even more displeased, thinking, he really isn't from a wealthy family. Crying at the drop of a hat. From the very beginning, Mother Liu didn't agree with her daughter marrying Ji-boda, but she couldn't stop her daughter from liking him. So, she had to hold her nose and accept it. Now, her daughter was saying she wouldn't marry him. Mother Liu's head started throbbing again. Marriage is not a game. I warned you so many times before, telling you to think clearly before getting married. Now the entire capital knows you're getting married. If you back out now, we'll become the laughing stock of the capital, Mother Liu said. Liu Ruyan sat back down on the side. She rubbed her temples, and finally revealed the secret she had kept suppressed in her heart for so long. Mom, he and I are just a transaction. It's not real. We haven't even registered our marriage. That single sentence made everyone's expression change drastically. Mother Liu stood straight up. What did you just say? You haven't registered? Don't tell me that certificate is fake. There's an unwritten rule in our circle. You must register your marriage before the wedding ceremony, as a form of security. Hearing it straight from her daughter's mouth now, Mother Liu's headache worsened. She looked like she was about to faint. Father Liu quickly helped her sit down and poured her a glass of warm water. Liu Ruyan looked at the people in front of her. Their expressions varied. Even my usually calm expression shifted. In the beginning, I also thought Liu Ruyan and Ji-boda were just acting. But later on, Liu Ruyan's various attitudes towards Ji-boda told everyone that it was real. No one acts so deeply that they get this invested. Giving away a multi-million-dollar blue diamond just like that. Saying Liu Ruyan doesn't love Ji-boda. Saying she and Ji-boda were just acting. No one would believe it. Seeing everyone's doubtful eyes, a wave of helplessness washed over Liu Ruyan. Especially my gaze made her heart ache inexplicably. She thought to herself, do I not believe her? When in the past, I used to trust her the most. Catching her gaze, I suddenly looked up and smiled at her. But that smile was full of sarcasm. Acted so much that you even fooled yourself. Liu Ruyan opened her mouth. Mother Liu hurried over and felt her forehead. Are you just too tired and stressed lately? Father Liu chimed in. As for the company, don't go in for now. Wait until you've calmed down. After saying that, he and Mother Liu prepared to go upstairs to rest. But as if suddenly remembering something, Mother Liu suddenly looked at Ji-boda. There are a lot of people in the Liu family. We didn't prepare a room for you. You should go back first. As the lights were about to go out again, I stood up, preparing to leave with Yi Xiangqian. But Liu Ruyan suddenly called out to me. At this moment, her eyes held nothing but a trace of helplessness. I really was just acting with Ji-boda. But she couldn't say the rest of the words. Thinking to herself, what else could she say? Say that after she realized my feelings, she found Ji-boda to put on an act, trying to force me away? Say that as long as I left, she and Ji-boda would be completely over. But I didn't believe her. I just looked at her coldly. My eyes were as icy as hers had once been. Acting? Where did you now? Who acts so devotedly? Hurting me over and over again for Ji-boda. Indulging him endlessly as he kicked me out into the rain. Indulging him as he smashed the only keepsake my mother left me. Abandoning me in the sea. Leaving me bruised and battered. And in the end you tell me this was all just an act. Do you expect me to believe that? Liu Ruyan, I'm no longer that foolish kid who blindly listened to you and believed your every word. I can judge for myself. After saying that, I didn't look at her again. I just took Yi Qiangqian's hand and walked out. Because the Liu and Yi families were neighbors. We walked back to the Yi family home in just over 10 minutes. Since our new home was still under renovation, we temporarily stayed at the old mansion. After my mother-in-law saw us get our marriage certificate, she accompanied my father-in-law abroad to handle company matters there. Right now, it was just the two of us in this massive mansion. We sat cuddled together on the sofa. After a long time, staring at the ceiling, I suddenly spoke up. I know she was acting. If that kiss back then was just a suspicion, then Liu Ruyan's words today turned my suspicion into certainty. What reason could she have to act? Was it just to push me away from her side? But maybe she acted so much that even she herself sank deeper and deeper into it, fooling herself into thinking she didn't like me, fooling herself into thinking she liked Ji-boda. If it weren't for today, when she accidentally discovered I was also getting married, I'm afraid she would have kept on acting. Perhaps even Liu Ruyan herself doesn't know that she actually likes me. Otherwise, someone as calm and composed as her wouldn't have done so many things that didn't fit her status, or said so many strange things. But I only felt a sense of irony. Liu Ruin clearly had so many other ways to push me away, yet she deliberately chose the cruelest one. And she just had to act out, right after completely pushing me away, treating love and marriage like a child's game. But now, I had already moved on. Whether Liu Ruin loved me or not didn't matter anymore. But Yi Qianqian, being a smart woman, didn't see it that way. She knew that Liu Ruian's sudden abnormal behavior today was clearly out of regret. Yet, Liu Ruian herself didn't realize it, allowing me to see it first. Thinking back to what I told her at the hospital that night, a flash of hesitation crossed her mind. What if I regretted it too? After all, I had loved Liu Ruian for so many years. Not to mention our marriage was so rushed. The next second, his large hand was tightly grasped by a small hand. The boy placed a kiss on the corner of her mouth, his words full of certainty. At first, I did have an ulterior motive for choosing to marry you. But now, I am completely clear about my feelings. I won't turn back for someone who hurt me so many times. I can explicitly tell you, the person I like now is you. After saying that, I was about to sit back down, but she yanked me back. I fell back into her embrace. She cupped the back of my head with one hand, tilted her head, and kissed me. I only froze for a split second, before wrapping my arms around her neck and kissing her back eagerly, making the 4 o'clocks outside the window shyly close their petals. Early the next morning, sunlight danced into the room through the wind-blown curtains. The piercing light made me subconsciously turn around, burying myself in Yi Qianqian's arms. The woman held me tighter, patting my back soothingly, just as she was about to close her eyes and go back to sleep with me. The phone on the nightstand buzzed. While coaxing me in her arms, Yi Qianqian picked up the phone. The moment she unlocked it, countless Weibo trending topics popped up all at once, filling her screen. Even though her movements were incredibly light, it still made me open my eyes in her embrace. Seeing her slightly furrowed brows, I asked in concern, "What's wrong?" Just as Yi Qianqian was about to speak, my phone started ringing too. As soon as I answered, Mother Liu's sigh came through the line. "Xiaoqiang, if you have time, please come back for a bit." After hanging up, Mother Liu looked at her daughter kneeling on the floor, feeling nothing but anger. Last night, they told Liu Ruian to calm down. But instead, she directly announced on the official website that her wedding with Jibota was cancelled. It made Jibota so furious that on his way over, he got into a severe car accident, and he still hasn't woken up. "Didn't I tell you to calm down? What are you trying to do?" Kneeling on the floor, Liu Ruian lowered her eyes, hiding the pain within them. The memories of last night surfaced again, dragging her back into the abyss. That night, she cried on the sofa, sitting for a long time before dragging her heavy head upstairs. Only then did she see the wedding gift I left for her. She froze for a long while, before bending down to pick up the box and walk back to her room. She carelessly sat on the floor and opened the box. When she saw clearly what was inside, she instantly held her breath. Inside, besides the gifts she had given me over the years, there were also gifts I had specifically bought for her. She suddenly remembered that summer, when we sat side by side watching a movie. The plot of the story had long faded from her memory. She only recalled that at the end, the female lead gave the male lead many gifts, every single one related to their wedding. Back then, I enviously shook her arm, saying that when I got married in the future, I would also give my bride many wedding-related gifts. Looking at the dates marked on these gifts, they were all bought the day before she discovered my feelings. So, I originally wanted to use these gifts to confess my love to her, but she ruined my beautiful dream a step ahead. Giving them to her now was just my way of putting a perfect period on that lingering regret. In a trance, she seemed to see me appearing before her eyes again, seeing me looking at her cautiously and greeting her, seeing me leaning over the desk, earnestly sketching her portrait, seeing me standing in front of her with red eyes, saying that I only fell in love with someone I had no blood relation to. How could that be wrong? In the end, all of this converged into the image of me at my wedding. Seeing me coldly say, "Me marrying someone else. Isn't that exactly what you wished for? You don't like me anyway." This sentence was like a cursed spell, playing on loop in her mind, hurting so much that she couldn't help but clutch her head. Did she really not like me? Did she truly not like me at all? Her originally hardened heart began to waver. If she really didn't like me, Why would her heart ache so much when I was sad? Why would she get so furious when I received love letters from others? And why did she lose control so completely when Nhi Recap and I got married? Question after question. Finally, she had an answer. She liked me. It was precisely because she liked me that she had these reactions. That's why she was in so much pain when she realized my feeling. So what if we weren't related by blood? The rumors and gossip out there would eventually hurt me. And how could she bear to see me get hurt? So she could only push me into hell time and time again. She found Jibota to put on an act. She knew all the things Jibota did to me, which was why she would secretly compensate me afterwards. When Jibota orchestrated his own fall into the cake, she fiercely slapped Jibota afterwards. When Jibota shattered my jade pendant, she directly had someone break Jibota's hand. When Jibota pushed me into the sea, she directly had someone throw Jibota back into the sea, leaving him there for a whole night. She used this method countless times to remind herself that she and Jibota were just acting. The one she truly loved in her heart was me, but in front of me, she still put on that facade of not liking me, acting so passionately that over time, it made her unable to distinguish reality from fiction. So, when Jibota begged her to dig him a wedding as the finale to this play, she inexplicably agreed. If she hadn't accidentally stumbled upon my wedding, she probably would have continued to immerse herself in her own play. Mom, what's going on? A familiar voice pulled her back from her thoughts. Liu Ruan looked up and saw me walking in together with Nhi Recap. Looking at Liu Ruan kneeling on the floor, I paused for a moment, then casually pulled Nhi Recap and sat down on the sofa to the side. Mother Liu patted the table beside her. You tell me, your sister. I really am. I told your sister to calm down last night. Turns out your sister calmed down a bit too much. Not only did she officially announce the wedding was cancelled overnight, she made Jibota so mad that he got into a severe car accident on his way here, and he still hasn't woken up, even though on the way here, I had already heard the general gist of what happened from Nhi Recap. But when I actually arrived at the Liu family home, I realized the situation was far more serious than I imagined. Liu Ruyan always thought thrice before acting. This was the first time I had ever seen her so decisive. As for the reason, I lifted my gaze to look at Liu Ruyan, just in time to meet her eyes looking at me. I immediately averted my gaze to look at Mother Liu. Mom, your health isn't good. You should go upstairs and rest first. I'll have a good talk with sister. Mother Liu was also experiencing chest pains from anger, and hadn't slept well all night. After exchanging a few more words with me, she went upstairs. Only then did I look back at Liu Ruyan in front of me, and sighed. Get up. The butler standing nearby quickly helped the kneeling woman up, supporting her to the sofa on the side. Then he quietly withdrew. Liu Ruyan, I know why you wanted to announce the cancellation of the wedding. But marriage is not a game. Before this you heavily publicized your affectionate love story with Jibota, and spent more than half your fortune to throw a grand wedding for him. A wedding of the century. And now you cancel it just like that. Have you considered the consequences? The hand Liu Ruyan was holding her water glass with paused. Her eyes were filled with pain. She knew very clearly the consequences of what she had done. That was why she had spent heavily on PR to barely stabilize the stock. Father Liu had also rushed to the company overnight to appease the shareholders. As for Jibota, she had sent people to the hospital. Right now, she only wanted to tell her true feelings to the person in front of her. She wanted to tell me. She finally understood her own heart. She liked me. Could I give her a chance? But she forgot. I was already married. One look at her expression, and I knew what she wanted to say. After all, I had lived with her for 16 years. So, I spoke directly. I'm only here today to talk to you on Mom's behalf. I don't want to talk about anything else. I held Nhi Recap's hand next to me. The snow-white tips of my ears under my short hair quietly turned red. After all, Recap and I are going on our honeymoon today. Anyway, what you need to do now is figure out how to minimize the impact of this incident. And, as for Jibota, I hadn't intended to say this next part. After all, Jibota had hurt me so many times. But I also knew, if it weren't for Liu Ruyan's favoritism, Jibota would never have been so bold. Besides, that's still a human life. You should go see him. Make things clear. Don't make Mom and Dad angry anymore. After saying that, I didn't look at her again. I took Yi Qianqian's hand and walked out of the villa. It wasn't until I was outside that I let out a sigh of relief. I knew what she wanted to say, but things were already set in stone. No matter what she said or did, she and I could never go back to how things were. After all, she created this situation herself, and I didn't want to blow this matter out of proportion. Mom and Dad couldn't take another shock. I mumbled a lot of things on the way back, and Yi Qianqian just listened quietly. It wasn't until we entered our living room that she set me down on the sofa, held me in her arms, and said softly, "No matter what you do, I'll be with you. If you're tired, just lean on me and rest for a while." I didn't say anything more. I just quietly lay in her embrace. For the next few days, as if taking my words to heart, Liu Rian didn't come looking for me, and the Liu family didn't have any more negative news. After a few phone calls with Mother Liu, I finally felt at ease and started preparing for my honeymoon with Yi Qianqian. According to the original plan, we should have been on a plane to France the night of our wedding, but because of Liu Rian's situation, our honeymoon trip kept getting postponed. We were finally setting off today. However, on the way to the airport, a sudden phone call forced our car to turn back again. Ji Boda woke up, and because Liu Ruyan called off the wedding, he ran up to the rooftop and threatened suicide. When Yi Qianqian and I arrived at the rooftop, we saw a group of rescuers standing nearby, and in front of them, Liu Ruyan and Ji Boda were in a standoff. Neither was willing to give in. The butler next to them, seeing Yi Qianqian and me arrive, quickly ushered us to the side, and briefly explained the situation. Upon hearing that Ji Boda was threatening suicide, Liu Ruyan and Mother Liu had rushed to the scene immediately. Mother Liu already disliked Ji Boda. Now that he was throwing such a tantrum, she straightforwardly scolded him a few times. But Ji Boda didn't show her any respect, and yelled right back. He made Mother Liu so angry that she ended up in the hospital. Because of this, Liu Rian was even more disgusted with Ji Boda. But it was a human life, after all. So she forced down her anger, and kindly urged Ji Boda to come down, saying she'd give him however much money he wanted. But Ji Boda didn't want money at all. What he wanted now was the position of master of the Liu family. The two were stuck in a deadlock. Neither would back down. I looked up, and saw Ji Boda sitting on the edge of the rooftop, tottering, but his eyes were filled with suicidal madness. His entire face contorted. "Liu Ruyan, you're the one who agreed to act first. You're the one who gave me false hope for so long. You're the one who announced to the whole world that I am your husband, that I'm the future master of the Liu family, and now you cancel the wedding just like that. How do you expect everyone else to see us? We've been acting for so long. Have you really not liked me even a little bit? I obviously like you so much. I'd do anything for you. Why are you treating me like this? You just want me gone, right? Fine, I agree. If I'm dead, isn't that exactly what you want? Then you can be with Liu Qiang, right?" But then, like a lunatic, he suddenly started laughing. Let me tell you, keep dreaming. His gaze bypassed her, bypassed me, and finally stopped on the group of reporters who were live streaming. "Every word I say today will be broadcasted live, word for word. As for you and Liu Qiang, it won't just be the Luo and Yi families who know. The whole capital, the whole world." He pointed at Liu Ruan, then pointed at me behind her, his voice suddenly booming. "You Liu Ruyan, like Liu Qiang, and Liu Qiang likes you. You brother and sister are committing incest. You're disgusting. So what if you're not related by blood? You're on the same family registry." Ji Boda didn't care about anything anymore. He was no longer willing to maintain his gentle facade in front of Liu Ruyan. Now, he had nothing left. Everything had been destroyed by Liu Ruyan. Why should he keep pleasing her? Listening to Ji Boda's series of crazy words, Liu Ruyan's face grew uglier and uglier. Even I, standing behind, became a target for Ji Boda. He didn't just want the position of the Liu family master. He clearly wanted us dead. Countless reporters were live streaming everything Ji Boda was saying in its entirety. On the internet, countless people were clicking into the videos and watching. This also meant that countless people, through the live streams, heard what Ji Boda was saying. They knew about the past between me and Liu Ruyan. They wouldn't care if it was true or not. They would just treat it as a juicy scandal, a joke to spread around. The Liu family's stock was about to plummet again. Seeing Jiboda was about to continue speaking, Liu Ruyan shouted at him, "Enough! How long are you going to keep making a scene?" Hearing this, Jiboda suddenly let out a miserable laugh. "Making a scene? What am I even making a scene about? I'm like this today because you forced me. Liu Ruyan, I'm going to die right in front of you. I want you to live in regret forever." Saying that, a malicious smile crept onto his lips, and he leaned backward. But the rescuer acted a step faster, sprinting over and shoving Jiboda inward. He crashed hard onto the rooftop. The medical staff swarmed over and pinned him down tightly, afraid that Jiboda would do something crazy again. Only then did Liu Ruyan breathe a sigh of relief. Turning around, she saw me standing not far away, looking at her. Just as she was about to speak, screams erupted from behind her. "Get out of the way! He has a knife! He's going to kill someone!" She stood frozen in place, only seeing my calm eyes turn to horror. A sharp pain pierced her back. Countless people rushed toward her in terror. Some pushed Jiboda away from her back, snatched the knife from his hand, and pinned him fiercely to the ground. Others hurriedly supported her, applying emergency first aid to stop the bleeding. "Liu Ruyan! Liu Ruyan!" She didn't know who was calling her. Liu Ruyan fell to the ground, weakly opened her mouth, and everything faded to black. I looked through the thick glass into the room. On the hospital bed, Liu Ruyan was sleeping deeply with a respirator on. Beside me, Nhi Recap reassuringly put her arm around my shoulder. Fortunately, she was rescued in time. "There's no major issue now. We just have to wait for her to wake up." I nodded, my brows still tightly knitted. No one expected Jiboda to go crazy again, break free from the medical staff's hold, pull a knife from his jacket, and stab at Liu Ruyan. If it had been just a bit deeper, Liu Ruyan would have died right on the spot. Just then, a few police officers walked over. "Mrs. Yi, the suspect, Jiboda, wants to see you." In the interrogation room, Jiboda was sitting on a chair with his head down. His hands and feet were shackled, locked tightly so he couldn't move. Hearing the noise, he slowly raised his head. But when he saw it was me, a victor's smile crept onto his lips. He had said so much on the rooftop yesterday, even exposing my and Liu Ruyan's deepest secret. How chaotic the Liu family must be. How crazy the outside world must be. He could imagine it all. "Liu Qiang, you're disgusting. To actually fall in love with your own sister. Yi Qiang. Look at the kind of man you married. He actually messed around with his own sister." But my wife and I remained as calm as ever, not affected by him in the slightest. Jiboda laughed even louder, a flash of viciousness in his eyes. "Liu Qiang, I'm waiting to see your reputation ruined, to be kicked out by the Liu and Yi families, to end up even more miserable than me." Hearing this, I suddenly let out a laugh. I looked at Jiboda in front of me, my eyes full of sarcasm. "Then you might be disappointed." Instantly, I saw Jiboda's smile freeze on his face. "Those things you said on the rooftop are just baseless rumors after all. There's no actual proof. Not to mention the Liu family is powerful enough to suppress a few news stories. Besides, you don't have any evidence to prove that I have an improper relationship with Liu Ruyan. Speaking of which, I should really thank Liu Ruyan. On the day she discovered my feelings, she ordered me to clean up everything related to her. No one can ever find evidence that I liked her again." And Yi Qian took my hand, smiling slightly. "I already knew everything you said. The person Xiao Qiang likes now is me. Not to mention, Yi Liang Ruyan. Not to mention, Yi and Liu Ruyan have no blood relation." The two of us spoke in unison, then exchanged a smile. "And before I got married, I transferred my registry back to my biological parents' household. Now, the Liu family describes me as the orphaned son of an old friend. Liu Ruyan and I haven't been siblings for a long time." As the last syllable dropped, Jiboda's face turned pale. All his original plans had fallen through. He began to roar and struggle. That already ordinary face became ugly and contorted. Why, Liu Qiang, why do you always have to be one step ahead? What right do you have to live so well? I frowned. Logically, given our respective backgrounds, Jiboda and I should never have crossed paths. But I just had to be soft-hearted. That's why when I saw Jiboda being chased to school and beaten by his parents who favored his younger brother, demanding money, I couldn't help but step in and help him. I gave him all sorts of necessities. Gave him gifts for every holiday and birthday. I even brought him home for dinner. And introduced him to Liu Ruyan. I originally thought my kindness would earn Jibota's gratitude and thankfulness. But all I got was his betrayal. After Liu Ruyan discovered my feelings, I once accidentally overheard Jibota smugly on the phone with his parents, showing off how he discovered my feelings, and how he snitched on me to Liu Ruyan, and finally, confidently declaring that he would secure the position of the Liu family master. And all of this turned out to be simply because of Jibota's jealousy towards me. Jealous that, even though my parents had passed away, there were still so many people willing to love and spoil me. But I lowered my eyes. No one knew how much pain I was in during the time after my parents passed away. No one knew how much coldness I endured when I first arrived at the Liu family. Jibota was still venting his resentment and unwillingness at that vicious gaze was like a venomous snake, delusional enough to think he could tightly entangle and kill me. But I no longer had any desire to continue talking to Ji. Saying anything more would be useless. The heavy doors slowly closed behind me. The moment the two doors slammed tightly together, with a loud bang, I let out a deep sigh. Thinking about what Jibota had just said, my heart grew even heavier. Although these matters between me and Liu Ruyan could fool the outside world, they absolutely couldn't fool Mother Liu. Someone as perceptive as Mother Liu would definitely believe the truths Jibota spilled. As for how she would treat me, my footsteps subconsciously stopped. Yi Qianqian, in front of me, noticing I hadn't continued walking forward, subconsciously turned back to look at me. What's wrong? I quickly shook my head. Nothing. Let's go to the hospital. In the hospital room, I sat alone by Mother Liu's bed. I handed Mother Liu a glass of warm water, then went back to peeling the apple in my hand. Mother Liu looked at me with my head down, not daring to look at her, and suddenly chuckled lightly. What? You had the guts to like Liu Ruyan, but now you don't have the guts to look at me? The long apple peel suddenly broke. I cautiously looked at Mother Liu. One glance and I met Mother Liu's smiling eyes. There wasn't a trace of anger in them. Mom Dai Deu. Mother Liu smiled. Actually, when we first brought you home, I did think about raising you as a son-in-law. But after thinking about it, I decided to respect your and her feelings. If you liked each other, I wouldn't interfere. If you didn't, I wouldn't force it. Now it seems, you two just weren't meant to be. Hearing Mother Liu's words, the corners of my eyes quietly turned red. On the way to the hospital, I had prepared so much to say, and prepared for the worst. But not only was Mother Liu not angry, she even comforted me instead. Why? According to normal people's thinking, a brother and sister having an improper relationship is just not allowed. That's incest. Not to mention I was adopted by the Liu family. Mother Liu took the apple I had peeled and cut into small pieces. You two don't have any blood relation. And now, you've moved back to your original family registry. You aren't even legally siblings anymore. Actually, if you and Ruyan had admitted your feelings for each other early on, then the year you turned 18, we would have terminated our adoption of you, so you could date her. As the young master of the Liu family, honestly, Ruyan just panicked too much about this. There were so many ways to handle your relationship, yet she just had to choose this one. Now look what happened. She shot herself in the foot. Mother Liu chatted with me for a bit longer, then waved her hand, saying she was tired. I quickly stood up, tucked Mother Liu in, and turned to leave the hospital room. I immediately bumped right into Yi Qianqian, who was waiting at the door. How did it go? She came up to me, full of concern. I pulled her into my arms. I said softly, it's all sorted out. Mom is much more understanding than I thought, and much more open-minded. Then why aren't you happy? Yi Qianqian patted my head and pulled me back from her embrace. I am just sighing. Liu Ruyan and I really just weren't meant to be. It's only today, after we've separated and started our own families, that I realized no one in the family actually opposed our relationship. But I will never turn back for her again. After all, right now, I have someone who loves me even more. My eyes curved into a smile. I hooked my finger around hers and placed a kiss on the corner of her mouth, which earned me an even deeper, more passionate response. After a long kiss ended, the two of us embraced and walked outside towards the sunset. But I didn't see that around the corner behind us. Liu Ruyan sat weakly in a wheelchair, being pushed out by a servant. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and regret. After a series of events, the two of us finally set foot in France again, and began our honeymoon. From the Champs-Élysées to the Eiffel Tower, Yi Qianqian and I walked hand in hand. In front of every beautiful scenery, we took photos of our love. It wasn't until sunset that we returned to the Yi family's estate. We sat on the balcony, sipping champagne, while watching the sunset in the distance. After finishing the last sip of champagne, I collapsed into Yi Qianqian's arms, snuggled up against her shoulder, and fell into a deep sleep. Early the next morning, 2 news notifications related to the Liu family popped up on my phone. The first was that Liu Ruyan had awakened from her coma and was transferred from the ICU to a regular ward. The second was that Ji Boda, although it was attempted murder, had already been sentenced as intentional homicide. Due to the severity of the crime, combined with the Liu family's influence, he was finally sentenced to 7 years in prison. I stared at the phone for a long time. Finally, I locked the screen, turned my head, fell back into Yi Qianqian's arms, and went back to sleep. After playing in Paris for half a month, the two of us embarked on a journey to Norway. Finally, we landed in Alta, in northern Norway. This is one of the best places to view the aurora. In northern Norway, the nights are long, and the days are short. The northern lights can streak across the sky at any time. All we needed to do was wait. We stayed in an igloo somewhere in the forest. Yi Qianqian and I lay on the large bed, admiring the beautiful night sky through the transparent roof. After just lying there for a while, an aurora flashed across the sky. Even though a long time ago, I had already seen the beauty of the aurora through various videos and photos, but seeing it with my own eyes, I was still struck by its breathtaking beauty. It was a mystery and wonder that's hard to express in words. In the long, endless night, the starry sky and the aurora complemented each other, forming a picture as beautiful as a fairyland. Countless tiny specks of light floated in the air, like fireflies of the Milky Way dancing gracefully. It was so beautiful that I couldn't help but hold my breath. It wasn't until a long time later that I remembered to pick up my camera to take pictures. It was another night of sweet dreams. So much so that bright and early the next morning, I excitedly pulled Yi Qianqian up, wanting to experience dog sledding. 20 or 30 sled dogs pulled us, galloping through the silver-white world, taking one sharp turn after another at high speed, making me scream in excitement, holding tightly onto Yi Qianqian's waist beside me. It wasn't until after the last curve that the sled dogs slowly came to a halt. I sat in the seat, catching my breath for a while. Just as I was about to get off the sled, my phone suddenly rang in my coat pocket. While helping Yi Qianqian out of her seat, I answered the phone. As soon as I stood steady, Liu Ruyan's voice came through from the other end. Xiao Qi. I also quietly held my breath, because I really didn't know what to say to her. Everything that needed to be said had already been made perfectly clear that night. Liu Ruyan Dacho. If you don't have anything to say, then just don't say anything. Wait. Her panicked voice came from the other end, followed by several coughs. After quite a while, she finally continued. I found out some things from my mom. We actually could have been together. Not as siblings anymore, but as a couple. Even as husband and wife. Rindy. So what? I got into the passenger seat of the snowmobile and continued. Ruyan, what's the use of regretting it now? If you really had to wait for everyone's approval before you were willing to take a single step towards me, then I'd rather not have that kind of love. Not everyone will wait for you right where you left them. When I liked Liu Ruyan the most, Liu Ruyan didn't like. The reason was you were afraid people would think we were committing incest. You didn't want to deal with those rumors and gossip. But now that you know, not only does everyone not oppose our relationship, they fully support it. You want to turn around and come back to me? Too bad. I don't like you anymore. In a relationship, it's not about me only liking you after you like me. It requires both sides moving towards each other. But I moved towards you first. I even took 99 steps. And you not only refused to take a single step, but you also pushed me away. You calling me now, is it just to say that you only just found out that no one looks down on our relationship and no one is stopping us? So you regret it. You want to get back together with me. But why couldn't you have been with me before you knew all this? Why does it have to be now? Ruyan, what exactly were you so afraid of back then? The other end suddenly fell silent for a long while. Neither side spoke anymore. Only the sound of each other's breathing lingered through the receiver. Suddenly, I just felt incredibly exhausted. This feeling, it was like when I was a kid and really wanted a little kitten. But no matter what I did, I couldn't have it. Then, just as I gave up and went to raise other kittens, that original kitten came running over to cling to me. But my arms were already full with another kitten. I had already poured all my love into the kitten in my arms. I didn't have the energy to raise another one anymore. Until I hung up the phone. Liu Ruyan never gave me an answer. I stared at the black phone screen, silent for a long time. Yi Qianqian waved her hand in front of my face. Only then did I snap out of it. What did she say to you? Why did those smiling eyes suddenly become so listless? She climbed onto my back, and as I carried her towards the lodge, I said nonchalantly, she said she regrets it. She wants to win me back. Suddenly, as if thinking of something, she whispered curiously in my ear, if she really did try to win you back, what would you do? The woman's grip on my hands tightened a bit. Impossible. I wouldn't give her the chance. I never knew I was such a jinx. What I casually said to Yi Qianqian last time actually came true. When we went ice fishing on the frozen sea, we saw a familiar face, Liu Ruyan. Perhaps because she had just recovered from a severe illness. Her face was even paler than before. The family doctor beside her was watching her carefully, terrified she might collapse at any moment. I just sat where I was, holding the fishing rod dropped into the ice hole, watching her slowly walk toward me, until she sat down in front of me, and Yi Qianqian. Xiao Qiang, you asked me last time what I was so afraid of. I wanted to tell you in person. I remained in my fishing posture, not even lifting my eyes to look at her. I wasn't afraid. I was just afraid that you wouldn't be able to handle the rumors and gossip. A boy with no backing, falling in love with the sister from his adoptive family. The curses from the outside world alone would have drowned you. Plus back then, over these years, you had always been protected by the family. You had never experienced any hardships. If you saw all those filthy words online, I couldn't imagine how devastating it would be for you. I took a deep breath. Then I saw the fishing rod in my hand twitch. I quickly pulled up the rod. With Yi Qianqian's help, a plump salmon was reeled in. It flopped continuously on the ice until Yi Qianqian grabbed it and put it into the special water tank. I lowered the rod back into the ice hole. Only then did I look at Liu Ruyan in front of me and said word by word, but I wasn't afraid. After I was sure about my feelings for you, I had already envisioned the worst possible outcome. As long as you were willing to stand by my side, even if you just took a single step, I would have had the courage to face all the rumors and gossip. But, from beginning to end, you never asked me a single question, and took it upon yourself to push me away. And then, after I married someone else, you used discovering your true feelings as an excuse to ask me to turn back. Liu Ruyan, Dr. How could there be so many good things waiting for you in this world? I reeled in the last fish, then stood up to pack my things, planning to head back. Just as Liu Ruyan subconsciously reached out to grab me, the ice nearby suddenly cracked, opening up several large holes. Watch out! Yi Qianqian forcefully pushed me away. But she and Liu Ruyan both fell into the holes. Yi Qianqian, the local rescue team, quickly arrived. But because the sea surface was freezing rapidly, they could only rescue one person first. I threw myself onto the ice, my eyes filled with panic. Upon hearing the rescue team's proposition, I demanded without hesitation that they save Yi Qianqian first. Because her injuries were more severe, from falling into the sea to being rescued, it only took 10 minutes. But for the two women, those 10 minutes felt like years. After they were rescued, they were given emergency treatment by doctors and rushed to the hospital. Along the way, I held Yi Qianqian tightly to keep her warm. She struggled to reach out her hand, wanting to tell me she was okay. But her outstretched hand was immediately soaked by my tears. Seeing me crying silently, her heart ached too. She struggled to lift her head and kiss my cold lips, which were burned by scalding tears. She smiled weakly. If you cry anymore, you'll turn into a little puppy. My nose stung, and I finally couldn't hold back and burst into tears. And all of this was witnessed by Liu Ruyan on the side. Seeing how intimate we were, an indescribable ache churned from the depths of her heart. surging up to her throat. She looked out the car window, and a very faint, bitter smile hooked on her lips. The smile carried a hint of, because of frostbite. Both of them stayed in the hospital for a week, and during this week, I stayed by Yi Qianqian's side without leaving for a second. It wasn't until the day before she was discharged that I found time to visit Liu Ruyan in the other room. Seeing her looking increasingly weak, I said with a trace of apology, "I didn't intentionally not save you first, but as you saw, Qianqian's condition was more serious than yours. That's why I saved her first." That was the truth. No matter how awful she felt inside, she couldn't say anything. Liu Ruyan looked at my calm demeanor, and suddenly remembered the time Ji Boda and I fell into the sea, and her explanation to me. She was also that calm, which made her excuse back then seem even more ridiculous. She lowered her eyes to hide the pain in them. The two of us just stayed silent for a long time, so long that it was completely dark outside again. Only then did I stand up, left her with a "get some good rest," and was about to walk out. "Xiao Qiang," Liu Ruyan's words, made my hand freeze on the doorknob, but I didn't turn around. I just quietly waited for her to continue. If I had bravely taken that step towards you back then, would there still have been a chance for us? But life is not a novel. We don't have ifs. After I said that, I walked straight out. She was the only one left in the entire hospital room again. She stared at the closed door of the room for a long time. Finally, she let out a bitter laugh, covered her face, and hid the tears that fell. Because of this accident, Yi, Qianqian, and my honeymoon trip had to be temporarily cut short. After returning, Liu Ruyan also followed us. Once the plane landed at the airport, the three of us were supposed to go back to the Liu family first, to let Mother Liu know we were safe. However, Liu Ruyan was called away by a phone call from the prison. She had to drive to the prison alone. From the time she was discharged until now, Liu Ruyan hadn't seen Ji Boda again. Even the subsequent series of events were handled by her assistant. So when she saw Ji Boda separated by a wall, she didn't process it for a moment. She had seen many versions of Ji Boda, but never like this. Beneath his withered yellow hair was an emaciated face covered in scars. His eyes had also become lifeless. Looking at the pale-faced woman in front of him, Ji Boda only felt a sense of vindictive pleasure. "Liu Ruyan, you have your comeuppance too, huh?" He slowly spoke, but his energy was like a cold, venomous snake, slowly wrapping around her heart, making her subconsciously frown. Her fingers tapped impatiently on the armrest of the chair. She originally didn't want to come, but after Ji Boda was sentenced, there were still some follow-up tasks she needed to handle personally. She was about to leave after dealing with them, when she suddenly remembered Ji Boda, and thought she'd come take a look since he had been with her for so long. But it turned out like this. She had no patience to listen to him continue his crazy rant. Just as she stood up to leave, a scream came from behind. With a loud bang, Ji Boda slammed his hands on the glass. His eyes condensed with thick hatred. "Liu Ruyan, why do you get to live so well? You were the one who gave me hope, and then crushed it with your own hands. Why don't you just die?" Liu Ruyan looked at him with an icy glare. "Ji Boda, when I came to you back then, I just wanted you to act with me. I didn't ask you to hurt him. As long as you didn't hurt him, once it was done, I would have given you a check with a satisfying amount. You had to bring this upon yourself and end up like this. You entirely deserve it." But Ji Boda was already buried in hatred, constantly repeating that she would definitely get her retribution. Liu Ruyan didn't look at him again. She walked step by step towards the door. Bitterness, bit by bit, filled her throat. Retribution? She had already gotten it. Losing me was her biggest retribution. The Liu family was brightly lit. At the dining table, Mother Liu kept putting food into Yi Qianqian's and my bowls. While serving us, she urged us to eat more, saying we had lost a lot of weight after going on that trip. Just as the few of us were sitting on the sofa, chatting and drinking tea, the sound of a car engine shutting off came from outside. Then we saw the butler quickly run out to open the main door. He bowed respectfully. "Miss, you're back. Should we serve dinner now?" Liu Ruyan handed her coat to the butler, while saying, "No need." Just as she was about to say something else, she saw Yi Qianqian and me getting up in the living room, looking like we were about to leave. She opened her mouth, about to speak, but Mother Liu immediately urged us to stay the night. "It's so late, just sleep here tonight." I've always had someone keep your room clean. I politely declined, saying we came back in a hurry, and there were still a lot of things to deal with at home. Mother Liu was about to say more when she turned around and saw Liu Ruyan walking towards us. Why are you back so late? Where did you go? Mother Liu suddenly asked her. Only then did Liu Ruyan snap out of her daze. Nowhere. Mom is right. It's so late, just stay here for the night. After answering Mother Liu, she turned to look at me. In front of her, I raised my eyes and looked at her, smiling without much care. In the past, she indulged Jibota's constant provocations, saying I was an outsider in this family. That's why Liu Ruyan arranged 30 blind dates for me, trying to marry me off. Now that I was actually married off, she was proactively urging me to stay. How ironic. After all, I'm already married. I still need to go home to handle some things. And because of these words, Liu Ruyan also remembered arranging those 30 blind dates for me back then. Back then, she wholeheartedly pushed me, hoping I would get married soon, so that there would be absolutely no possibility between us. Now things have changed, and people have moved on. I had truly married and started a family, just as she had wished. But the hope she originally held was long gone from her heart. It was another beautiful day. After Yi Qian finished her phone call, she waved at me. As soon as I walked over, she pulled me into her arms. What is it? Yi Qian kissed me and said, our last wedding wasn't fully completed because of some accidents. Plus, when you were planning it last time, I wasn't by your side. So, I want to have another wedding. This time, I want to be by your side, to accompany you in completing every single detail. I held her hand, my heart warming. Okay, a wedding should be perfect. We shouldn't leave it full of regrets. Both of us were people of action. We quickly began replanning the wedding. When both sets of parents found out, they were completely supportive, and also started helping us. Having another wedding was something I was really looking forward to. Our last wedding was, firstly, rushed, and secondly, I didn't have many expectations for it. So, throughout the entire wedding, I didn't feel much anticipation. But this time, I had the person I loved accompany me through it all. So I was full of expectations for this wedding. And precisely because I was involved in the whole process, I finally realized how complicated it is to host a wedding. From choosing the wedding venue down to a single wedding ring, we had to select them repeatedly. When deciding on the wedding venue, we went through the 10 pictures sent by the wedding planner before finally deciding to hold it at the Yi family estate in France, because most of the Yi family's relatives were in France. Watching my hand caress the pictures, Yi Qian placed her hand over mine and smiled. Last time was too rushed. I didn't get to give you a proper tour of the estate. This time we'll go early and take a good look. I smiled and nodded. Just then, the doorbell suddenly rang. Soon, the butler walked over to me with a box in his hands. He handed it to me. Sir, this was sent over by someone from the Liu family. They didn't say anything else. I thanked him and took it, but after seeing clearly what was inside, the smile froze on my face. It was the necklace I had given to Jibota back then. The necklace I used to treasure as much as my own life. I stared at it for a long time, then set it aside. Then I looked back into the box and saw the jade pendant that Jibota had broken back then. Now, it had been restored to its original state by a professional restorer. You couldn't even see the traces of the cracks. Without even asking, I knew the person who sent this was Liu Ruyan. I just didn't understand. Ever since I stopped liking her, I had returned everything to her. I understand returning this restored jade pendant, but why did she return the necklace to me? And at the very bottom of the box, there was that blue diamond she had given to Jibota. Thinking about how all these things had been touched by Jibota, I couldn't help but frown. After taking out the jade pendant, I pushed the box aside, and Yi Qian beside me, sharp-eyed, noticed that at the very bottom edge of the box, there was a small note. She picked it up, glanced at it, and handed it to me. What is this? I took the note, and looked. I saw that Liu Ruyan had written a few lines on it. Xiao Qiang, Jibota hasn't touched any of these. I'm giving them to you as part of your wedding gift. There's another part that I'll have someone bring to you at the wedding venue. Happy wedding. I won't be attending. I stared at this note for a long time. In the end, I didn't say anything, because this wedding wasn't as rushed as the last one. The two of us planned the wedding while traveling. It took over a year of planning before this wedding was finally fully prepared. A month before the wedding, Yi Qianqian and I flew to France with the Liu family parents. As soon as we landed, we were warmly received by Yi's parents. The two of us took the Liu family parents on a tour all over Paris. It wasn't until a week before the wedding that everyone returned to the estate. As the wedding approached, I finally started getting nervous. I started having insomnia night after night. For the last wedding, all I could think about was fleeing the Liu family. Fleeing Liu Rian. So, in the days leading up to the wedding, I slept exceptionally well, just like normal. But now, my heart was full of the thought of marrying Yi Qianqian, marrying the person I love most. I was both nervous and excited inside. Seeing me like this, Yi Qianqian would tell me many stories. Before bed every night, she would talk for hours. It wasn't until I finally fell into a deep sleep that she would hold me and go to sleep too. On the night before the wedding, according to custom, the bride and groom couldn't see each other. We could only rely on letters we had written beforehand to ease our longing for each other. Looking at the deep love Yi Qianqian poured into her letter, I was overwhelmed with happiness. Just then, Mother Liu knocked on my door. I quickly put the letter away and welcomed her in. Mom, bite. Is there something you need? Mother Liu smiled. Mom is just so happy she can't sleep. Thought I'd come check on you. And also bring you the wedding gift your sister got you. After saying that, she pulled out a box. Inside was a complete set of sapphire jewelry. I instinctively wanted to refuse, because it was too valuable. But Mother Liu just shoved it directly into my hands. It's from your sister. Just accept it. After saying that, she stood up, told me to get some good rest, and left the room. I looked at the jewelry set, my heart full of complex emotions. Finally, I put it in the nightstand drawer. The sun was shining brightly, not a cloud in the sky. Yi Qianqian, wearing a white wedding dress, holding Father Yi's arm, constantly adjusted her breathing, trying hard to calm herself down. Soon, the melodious piano music began to play. The bride, holding her father's arm, passed through the floral arches one by one, walking step by step towards me at the end of the aisle. Everything that followed felt like a dream. Her hand was solemnly placed into mine by Father Yi. Under the priest's solemn vows, we exchanged rings and kissed intimately amidst the applause of the crowd. In the center of the banquet hall, having changed into a formal suit, I danced gracefully with Yi Qianqian to one romantic song after another. The guests were infected by the atmosphere and began inviting their own lovers and family members to join the dance floor. When the final song ended, fireworks bloomed one after another outside the estate. The guests surrounded the bride and groom, moving together to the balcony outside the banquet hall to admire the beautiful view. Caught up in the deep emotion of the moment, Yi Qianqian and I looked deeply into each other's eyes and finally embraced and kissed once more. Because it was broadcast live globally, Liu Ruyan, far away at the Liu family home, also watched the entire process of my wedding. She had watched me get married twice, every time I was welcoming another woman, and she could only ever watch from the sidelines. She let out a bitter laugh, but then suddenly started coughing violently. It scared the family doctor nearby, who quickly came over to pat her back, bringing her water and administering medicine. Finally, Liu Ruyan caught her breath. Looking at her pale face, the family doctor couldn't help but advise, Miss, with your current physical condition, you are not fit to endure any more shock. You need to maintain a peaceful state of mind. Under the family doctor's persuasion, Liu Ruyan finally calmed down. She told the doctor to leave first, saying she was going to rest now. After the doctor left, she turned back to the computer. The image on the computer was paused on the scene of Yi Qianqian and I getting married. It was clearly a happy scene, but in her eyes it was still so piercing. If she had been at the venue, she might not have been able to control herself, and might have done something crazy like crashing the wedding again, just like last time. That's why she suppressed herself and stayed in the country. Besides, her current physical condition didn't allow her to travel long distances. Liu Ruyan glanced at the trash can nearby. Inside were several crumpled, blood-stained tissues. It was the blood she had coughed up from coughing too hard just now, and even if she wanted to go, her legs wouldn't allow it. She looked at her legs, which were in so much pain they needed acupuncture, constantly, and smiled bitterly to herself. Ever since she fell into the ice hole last time, her legs had started developing lingering symptoms. And as time passed, the after effects on her legs grew more and more severe. Now it had reached the point where she needed constant acupuncture. But, besides relieving the pain, the acupuncture had no other effect. According to the doctor, in a year at most, her legs would never stand again. She would be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of her life. She covered her face, laughing and laughing until she burst into tears. That's why she wasn't willing to attend my wedding. She didn't want me to see her in her most pathetic state. Us being like this now is the best ending. Meanwhile, at the Yi family estate in France, after seeing off the last guest, having freshened up, I fell into Yi Qianqian's arms, excitedly chatting about the fun moments from the wedding today. As we were talking, Yi Qianqian held my upright body. Already a bit tipsy, she gradually started running out of energy. She had no choice but to gently pull, firmly pinning me down onto the bed. Lying slightly on her side, she pressed her arm against me, closed her eyes and continued to kiss me, not giving me any chance to escape. She just held me even tighter, as if wanting to knead me into her warm chest. I was stunned for a moment, then wrapped my arms around her neck, responding to her love. As the kiss ended, like a magic trick, Yi Qianqian had a ruby ring clutched in her palm. This is the ring I personally designed and made. The day I realized I liked you, I kept thinking that one day I would personally put it on your hand. Today, I finally did it. She kissed me, lying beneath her, while slipping the ring onto my finger. Xiao Qiang, I'm so happy I can marry you. Thank you for being willing to marry me. Looking at the ring on my hand, I smiled tenderly. I kissed her back. Qiang, I'm also so lucky to have met someone who loves me this much. Having you with me every day from now on is the luckiest thing in my life. That makes sense. It's so late, let's just stay home tonight. After responding to Mother Lu, she turned her head,